Spencer, was this something you guys were aware of? Because it was listed as chronic. Was this something you kind of knew of when you acquired him, or did you find out about this later?
So he had some symptoms while he was in Toronto that we knew about, and certainly covered that at the time of the trade and had access to all that information, and felt comfortable, obviously, at the time of the trade that based on the information we had to go forward with the trade. And then after the trade, and then really the first time I heard about it was, I think, shortly after Pirates Fest. As he got into his off-season hitting progression, he experienced some new symptoms. And so after some back and forth and a period of rest, we decided to have him checked out again by Dr. Graham. And with a new MRI, Dr. Graham, who had also seen him when he was with Toronto, identified a new injury to the tendon in his right wrist. So and recommended the procedure that happened a couple weeks ago. So yeah, it's he had symptoms in the wrist previously that we knew about and had talked about at the time of the trade and felt good about the trade at the time. And then the new information from Dr. Graham was that this was something new had happened since the trade that led to the recommendation of having surgery. So that's where we are today.
So there's no concern about the viability of the trade or anything like that?
No. This is very clear to us based on the information we got from Dr. Graham that what happened that led to the surgery is new since the trade. It's frustrating and a setback, but it's new information.
Do you consider it to be a fairly routine procedure as opposed to one where you just don't know, because those can be tricky things?
Sure. Going to lean on what Dr. Graham has told us, and he's really optimistic and confident coming out of the surgery that he feels like it went really well, and that Spencer should be back doing baseball stuff, at some point during spring training, and certainly with a chance to contribute in 2025. We're not going to put a timeline on that right now. We need to take it a day at a time. But Dr. Graham and Spencer himself came out of the procedure, really confident about what will happen in the next few weeks.
Do you feel you have a potential replacement at first base in camp, or is it something that maybe you have to go external for?
I think we'll stay open-minded to the external part of the question. I think right now we're focused on the guys that are here. We've got some guys that we want to certainly learn more about, guys that have been in the position we want to learn more about. Derek Hall, DJ Stewart, guys who have shown offensive potential at the major league level, and now we'll have an opportunity to get a lot of reps here in spring training. Obviously we've got guys like Triolo and other guys that have played there. And it's, I think it's quite possible that we'll see some guys get some work there that haven't in the past or haven't as much in the past before, and perhaps this is an opportunity to get a bat in the lineup that maybe otherwise we'd have a hard time doing. So we're gonna focus mostly internally, and part of that is because of Spencer. We believe Spencer himself will be part of that before too long.
On the note of focusing internally, does that at all change how you approach things with Brian Reynolds, just with him taking ground balls over the offseason at first base?
Yeah, I think right now, Andrew, our focus will be on Reynolds being in the outfield. I think the first base thing with him has come because he's just a good baseball player and a good teammate, and he's trying to make himself available to do whatever the team needs and help the team win. Based on all the information we have, we also want to put him in the best position to just be in the lineup every day. That's the most important thing for the Pirates, is Reynolds in the lineup every day. Right now, barring something unforeseen, would expect that to be in the outfield.
Are there other guys that you said that haven't played there much but could see some time there this spring? Are there anybody in particular, that outfielder or infielder, that could get some time?
Yeah, there are guys we've talked about, and just because some of those conversations haven't even happened yet with some of the players that it might involve, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I would expect that you'll see some guys getting work there that haven't been there before.
Is Andy a possibility for first base, or would you prefer for him to stick at catcher?
Yeah, no, good question about Andy. I think for right now we're just gonna focus on catcher. He missed a full season. Obviously a significant rehab. We really believe in him as a catcher. Believe he can be an everyday catcher in the future. Coming off the rehab, we want to give him a chance to settle back in at that position. We know he can do other things, and down the road, if circumstances suggest that we should revisit that, we can revisit it. But certainly early in spring training, I expect at this time he'll be focused behind the
Would
plate.
Dejan be a viable option? I mean, I know he had a good partial season in Philly, and obviously walked out of the
Derek Hall, you're asking
Yeah,
about?
Derek Hall.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed the first part of the question.
Is he a viable option?
Sure, yeah. I mean, he's hit for power in the major leagues. He's here in camp. We're getting to know him. Certainly expect he's going to get a lot of spring training at bats, and excited to see what he can do with them. Certainly, we think about the team construction. Obviously, for whatever time Spencer is not able, the left-hand side of that equation at first base is obviously an opportunity, and so we'll look to guys here to get time there and see what they can do.
Dan, as camp opens, just talk a little bit about pitchers and catchers getting an opportunity to get out there and just work.
Excited about it. We've talked about the pitching, excited about the quality of pitching we have, but also very clear that, for us to win, we need that pitching to take even another step further, step ahead. And we know a little bit about the work that group has done this offseason. So now we get a chance to see it a little bit more in person and see it come out on the field, and that's really exciting. And our catching group is also, we believe, a strength in the organization, and we've got really strong competition in that group in spring training, and so it's an exciting day. Excited to see what these guys have done in the offseason, bringing out on the field.
Ben, how did you feel about some of your ability to address other positions, especially like a corner outfield spot, which you did in free agency? And are you still active here at the beginning?
Yeah. Really believe in the group that we have here and the group that we will have here as all the players report. Believe we strengthened the team this offseason with the additions we made. Believe we're deeper than we were in November. Believe we've added talent in places we wanted to add talent. We also feel good that we've added some toughness and grit at a time when our sole focus should be winning, and feel good about that. And there's more we wanted to do. There's more things we chased down that we were not able to do, and our focus will continue to be on that. I think to some extent we think about how acquisitions are made, and the two kind of, in simple ways, the two kinds of acquisitions are free agency or trades, at least in an off season. Well, free agency kind of lasts from November to March sometime now, and trades last from November to July. And trades are always probably going to be a little bit bigger component of our team building. And so we're going to stay focused on that. We're going to keep looking to find opportunities to make the team better, and doesn't mean we're on the doorstep of anything, but that's not going to change just because we're here in Bradenton.
And how much different is the plan for Paul now than it was a year ago?
Well, certainly his build-up in spring training, I'd anticipate. Obviously, we took it really slow last year intentionally, and he's going to come into camp as you'd expect a regular starting pitcher to come into camp and get built up with the rest of the starters. And we know how hard he's worked, and he's still, he went into this offseason, I don't think any different than he has in the past. He went into this offseason very focused on things that he still wanted to improve. So we'll see that play out now in spring training, and his build-up will be like a regular starter in the major leagues.
You talked about him, the staff as a whole, taking another step. What is the step like for him in particular that maybe is, because now, obviously he had a sensational year last year, but now everybody kind of knows him.
I'd probably want him to talk about that, because I trust him that he's as in tune with that as anybody, and he's going to be able to articulate exactly what he was working on, what he's focused on. I think it's probably just the full arsenal. Like he's obviously got really high quality pitches, and we know what the competitor is, and but there are certain parts of his arsenal that he went into the offseason, I know, looking to refine even further, and we know he's working on it, and we'll let him answer that question as he gets in here.
You guys added Adam, Bradenton, and Converham in free agency. What type of value do you think they bring to the lineup?
Yeah, I kind of referenced that. I just think just keep the most important thing has to win. Obviously we know Frage from his time being here before. I've kind of enjoyed, gotten a chance to talk to him actually, I think in each of the off seasons since he left, as he got into free agency. and keeping those conversations going, just kind of knowing where he is in his life and career, and just like the idea of having a player like that who only cares about one thing and happens to really care about Pittsburgh and has history here, coming back into our mix. And then Tommy, obviously, don't have history with, but everything I've ever heard about Tommy and the due diligence we do says that this guy just cares about one thing, and that's winning. And so we like the idea of bringing that element into our clubhouse.
Were those conversations with Adam like in exploration of bringing him back at any time earlier years?
Yeah, it just didn't line up in previous off seasons, but we talked about. I think we've talked to Adam in each of the years he's been a free agent, and just came together in this one.
We saw Cade with a smile on his face in the clubhouse. I know you expressed optimism, at the end of last year that, the back maybe be in a better spot this year as the first mile marker. How is it in your eyes?
Really good, but I'm just gonna go off him. He's looked really good since he's been here. He's looked really good in his work. He's got a smile on his face. So those are really good signals for us, and we'll continue to support him in any way we can. He's obviously really important to us. Excited to watch him play.
Just how important is, when you talk about internal improvement, is having Keith play like he did in 23 as opposed to 24?
It's big, It's like you can look at it on paper, or look at it in other ways. I mean, he's in 22 and 23, he was, very clearly in our eyes, one of the most valuable third basemen in the game. All in, put the defense and the offense and the base running together, add it all up. He's very clearly one of the most valuable third basemen in the game in 22 and 23, and last year was a grind for him. So if we're getting something closer to 22 and 23, that's going to make a big impact on the team.
That's good.